Okay, go ahead.
He
So they
has- he
gave him,
He survived 4 days of 104 temperature,
okay,
and that was enough to give him a 20% chance of developing Parkinson's.
wow,
And then he was driving a truck. This was in Africa, and
for the war.
he was driving during I forgot what year was it. Anyway, it was during the Second World War, and he served in the army for 4.5 years. And he was driving a truck that had just been completely overhauled, perfect condition, they said. And he was driving. Luckily, an officer was driving behind him by accident, and he was sitting with his legs up because it was so hot.
Okay.
In the jungle. So, and the truck stopped of its own accord, and he was thrown clear because his feet were up, and landed on his head. And he would have been killed instantly otherwise, because the truck, this was a malfunction, stopped, turned over, and just disrupted, I gather. It was just a wreck. And he survived that. In fact, he was apparently conscious, but he remembers none of it except starting in the morning. And he knows these things from the lieutenant who was just happened to be following him. Luckily, picked him up and took him to the hospital. And he was talking. He has no recollection, he said, of anything except starting out in the morning.
But do you think, with your scientific mind, it was the inoculation that created that condition for him to get Parkinson's?
Both of those, each one gave him a 20% chance.
Wow. Why the car accident? Because it landed on his head?
If he hadn't been thrown clear, he'd have been killed.
Right.
It was, and yes, a head injury of that sort.
The traumatic.
Very traumatic.
Shaking up the whole nervous system and the brain and everything like that.
And he has no recollection of anything except starting out in the morning.
Wow.
Only the officer who was driving behind him, he said, a good thing, because otherwise they'd have said he did something wrong with it. And that's what they did. I don't know to that truck. I have no idea, because it destructed completely.
Right, and it was never used again.
No, I'm sure it wasn't. It wasn't usable.
No.
And as I say, he was talking, and there's no recollection of it. And he took him right to the hospital because he knew that's where he belonged. And but yes, and that's what gave him the Parkinson's.
Incredible. So let's see what else she says. Your mother had macular degeneration. She was legally blind.
My mother
Whose mother had macular degeneration?
My mother.
Okay.
This was quite a while ago, so...
This was before your dad died? And you moved after?
My father died.
Right.
Fairly... He wasn't very... He was like, 59?
Right.
And my mother lived to be in her 90s.
Okay.
And there was a lot of stuff that wasn't around that is today.
Right.
And so, yes, and there wasn't treatment for all. It's just as my aunt went, well, actually, I'm forgetting words, and I know what I want to say, and it won't come.
Okay, take your time.
I don't have macular degeneration, but I have glaucoma that runs in the family.
Oh, glaucoma? So you have to have your pressure checked.
Oh, well, it's checked, but I use drops every night, of course.
My husband does too. He has glaucoma.
Yeah, but it's if you have the right kind, it's treatable.
Right. Right, and you measure the pressure so it doesn't go up.
Yes, and I do have an ophthalmologist who's
Good.
competent, so it's holding its own. I never go to bed without putting the drops in, and because I don't wish to lose my vision.
Right, so your vision is still pretty good
Yeah, I've had cataract surgery,
in both eyes or just one?
both eyes.
Great.
Well, not at the same time, but different times, I see better now than I did when I was young, because without my glasses, I and my roommate in nursing school, this was during the war, we were all signing up for the Red Cross. So it was a chart, just a paper chart in those days. And you stood up and, read what you can read, one after another. They didn't believe us my classmates, until they saw this. Because once we both misplaced our glasses, and we were pawing around the room looking for them. They didn't believe us.
that you couldn't see without your glasses, huh?
And so we stood there. What do you see? Nothing. Okay, walk up. So one after another, we walked up to within 5 feet of the chart and saw the top letter.
And saw the top what?
The top letter, the big E.
Oh, and you had to walk that close, huh?
Yeah. Both
Thank
of us.
you.
Both of us. And then, they didn't believe us. One day we didn't know where we left our glasses. We were pawing around the room. And they thought we were kidding, or we weren't.
Well, so you see much better after you had the cataract surgery.
I have new lenses. I mean, they put in new lenses. And so,
I've heard that.
I can see without my glasses. I can even see the clock. And I had to
Maybe I need cataract surgery, huh?
I could sit in the front as a kid. My parents didn't believe it. We don't have any trouble. Why should she? Never mind that there was trouble with the eyes in families. And in the past, in my mother's family anyway.
So your mom went legally blind, what, in the last few years of her life?
She could see, but only peripheral vision. And there wasn't any treatment for it. So she really couldn't see.
That would be hard, wouldn't it, if you didn't have your vision?
It was difficult, yes. And she went into senile dementia and some other things as well. She was, yes, it was very difficult.
And this was in Pennsylvania? Or Ohio?
Yes, we were living in Philadelphia. I was born in Ohio, but we moved away during the Depression because my father didn't want to go through bankruptcy because he planned to restart his business. He was a building contractor, and and he had 2 brothers in Philadelphia. That's why we landed in Philadelphia. My mother's family was in Cleveland, so it was. But no, it was. And my mother had quite a few things wrong, and there wasn't much you could do about it.
And so did she stay in Pennsylvania until she passed on?
Yeah, she was sure. I mean, as I say, she was into dementia, and she was sure. I planned, because I'd been working part-time at one point in a nursing home. And
you planned it, huh?
Yeah, that I was going to put her there. Well, it happened to be a Christian nursing home. I had no intention.
No.
Putting her there, she was totally non-religious anyway, but still.
But still in all, it's, yeah.
It wasn't the place. And I said, well, that's for people who have to go. Well, she did have to go, because you couldn't keep her. I mean, we had her. They had her checked at home. I wasn't able to had that done before she left here, and she was going to go to Philadelphia. Was she going to go to Cleveland, and the cousins would take care of her? Well, the cousins were not going to take care of her, and they had their own problems. And yes, uh, she was evaluated at my sister's home, and my sister was going slightly crazy
With Mom?
because you couldn't let her, you didn't know what she was going to do next. And she wanted to take a walk, so she said, "Don't cross the street. You can take the walk." And then she had a funny feeling, so she looked up, and there was Mother just about to step in the street. So she was evaluated, and there was no way we could keep her home. It was too dangerous.
Too many.
She had to be somewhere where she couldn't. Well, she could have started a fire.
Right.
And wouldn't know what she was doing.
Right.
So they finally went to see different places, and she finally saw one place she liked, and so I had been taking her places here. No, nothing suited her, and so they made a special thing and took her in on a Saturday. And then she called in the afternoon, "I don't like it here, I want to go, you have to take me home." And my sister by that time was utterly exhausted and said, "You can't come home, I have a cold and you'll catch it, because I'm too sick right now." And so she eventually stayed there. And
How long did she live with dementia?
Well, she was, what was she, how old was she was in her early 90s when she died.
Okay.
And, no, she lived on, but she was demented, there's no question. And that, it wasn't a bad place where she was.
Good.
But,
What's your favorite memory of your mom?
well, I have so many unfavorable memories. But no, she really did try to do things well. She was of the school that didn't believe in telling the truth. You said what you thought, and then there was a whole group of people like that.
So she never told the truth?
Well, she did, but they generally said what they thought people wanted to hear. And so it didn't matter. And so you just learned to deal with it. And it could be a bit traumatic at times. However, well, I will say this. She had a good sense. She had a sense of dressing and looking well, and had sense enough, unlike my poor roommate whose mother dressed her, sent her off in school looking like a middle-aged lady. And it was only after a month in school that she looked like a normal, a coat with a fur collar that was suitable for a matron and not for an 18-year-old.
Right.
And no, my mother would never have done that. She was up to, you can't wear style. She had many good qualities.
So she had style.
Well, yes. When she could be rather, what was my sister just said, when she went, and she loved shopping, didn't love buying. She would drive the salespeople crazy. And and also she was quite fortunate in the way of we had a good diet. There were many good things, but some of the, as my sister put it, she was very controlling.
Oh, yes.
Got it? And but she did say many sensible things. That one thing what you put in your mind is the one, unless you lose your mind, it's one thing that's not going to be lost. So she was strongly for education. And I'm sure that I went into nursing school, she was hoping she wanted to have, I believe, her son-in-law, the doctor. I had no intention of marrying a doctor.
Right. It's funny how people are, aren't they?
So I missed a chance to become one, which was very stupid of me.
Well, but here you are.
Yeah.
And what about you as a mother? Were you controlling with your daughters?
I'm not sure. You better ask the daughters.
Trudy, was your mom controlling?
Only sometimes.
And do you guys have a good relationship now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're.
Now she's not controlling.
I think it's so great that you can. I really think families should live generational. I think it's so important, and it's so nice that you have family and you're as independent as you can be.
Well, I'm not terribly independent right now because
Yeah, but you still take the access bus.
Yeah,
and
that's-
you try to. You do. She does her own stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty
I have
great.
to make sure that I don't have an appointment for
Right.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow is
You
Saturday.
don't.
About a Saturday. Oh, good. I'm mixing up the days. It's so.
Well, and
I'll have to
she's cold
check it.
always, so it's so hot.
It's hot in here because she's cold a lot.
She's cold even now.
Are you cold even now?
No.
Okay. But I have my fleece coat on too.
And it's hot. It's like what?
Well, I'm
74.
quite warm. But I was-
69.
But what happened today is that I was at. Robert took me. My son-in-law took me to the beauty parlor
Uh-huh.
to get my.
And it looks beautiful.
Well, it was, yes, I go to this one place in Lake City. I've been going there since it opened because I was going elsewhere and having terrible haircuts. And I had a friend who had been a beautician. He said, oh, it's easy to cut curly hair. Well, I was winding up. There was one man who was very good. My oldest son told us about that place. And then they fired him and I guess they didn't like the way he was talking to people, and got in somebody who was utterly incompetent, for me anyway, and I was going from one place to another, looking worse and worse. So I said, might as well be a new place opened in Lake City.
We're on Lake City.
Well, it's, what's the name of the, I can't remember the name of the, where do we go to get the haircut, Trudy? I go anyway. It's run by people from where?
Trudy, do you remember where your mom goes for hairdressing?
Yeah, Lake City
Lake City.
Beauty Salon, right next to Value Village.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
The
Yeah.
Vietnamese.
And
Okay.
it's run by people who are speaking a language I've never heard of.
Nice. So is it a training school? So it's not
No,
as no? Okay.
No, it's run.
It's a regular beauty salon.
Well,
Nice.
it's a beauty
And a hair
salon.
cutter, a barber.
Mhm.
And they do, well, they do permanents and all sorts
Right,
of
but
things.
your hair looks really
Plus,
nice.
I also do use it for
And it
facial
doesn't cost
hair.
that much, so.
And
I mean, I'd put you, if I had to right now, maybe late 70s, early 80s.
well, that's because I just came from.
Siona goes there, she gets her eyebrows done, and it's
Mhm.
$10.
Oh, nice.
It's not too expensive, and
That's nice.
but-
It's all expensive, so if it's
I
reasonable.
know.
It's
always-
reasonable, but the main thing is, they can cut my hair. I don't wind up.
Yeah, they did it really nice because you can see the twinkle in your eyes and your face is smiling.
Well,
And
she's good.
yeah,
She's really good.
I can tell that.
And the one she has now, and I can't understand their language but they were so nice. The one woman who was in there, we became acquainted just talking, waiting, and she said she knew I had to get back, time for. And she said, "No, you go now. You go first." And so nice. She was from the Philippines,
Nice.
and my son-in-law, her husband, is from the Philippines.
Nice.
So it was, and of course I don't know any of that language at all. But two of us became acquainted sitting there waiting while her daughter had her hair cut. And she said, "No, you go now. You have to get back."
That's nice. That's nice.
Really, there were such nice people there.
Well, good. So when will you go back there? How often do you get your hair cut?
Well, I try to think of it every month, but about every 6 weeks or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And it grows. It's quite thick.
That's nice. Usually when you get older, it thins.
Not mine.
Good.
And
That's
it,
good.
Uh,
You don't want balding spots if you can help it.
no, there are people who have that.
Oh, yeah.
But my hair continues to grow, and it becomes quite bushy. But right now, I had a shampoo because I've almost fallen. I fell against something, and the skin of the elderly is very fragile,
Yeah.
so it gave way, and I don't want to, until it's completely healed, I don't want to get it wet,
Right.
and it's difficult with this thing, but it's because this is quite warm. But as I came home, it was chilly. My hair was still somewhat wet. It was because she hurried up to get me out of there, and as I say, this nice Filipino lady said, "No, you go first." She was ahead of me, but
It's nice how people can make your day just by being nice.
oh, they're such nice people.
Yeah.
there.
Did you have long hair growing up?
Oh, well, I had longer hair.
Right, but it was always like shoulder length or
Well,
above shoulder.
eventually I'd get tired of it and get it chopped off. I didn't have curly hair and it's bushing all over the place. It's not good.
So you never did anything with your hair, you just,
Well, my sister she had wavy hair, and you have to set your hair. Well, you set curly hair, and the minute it's wet, boom, it's not going to be the way you thought it would be.
yeah, curly hair is kind of wild, isn't it?
And you have to have someone who can cut it. And finally, I said, "This is baloney." Went in and said, "Cut it off."
I used to cut my hair. When I didn't like it, I'd cut my hair.
I did that when I was
Oh.
in nursing school. It was difficult to find time to get out,
Right?
and I just take my bandage scissors and
Yeah.
slice away, because in those days you wore a cap anyway, and it was just too messy.
Yeah.
It was very hard to get time when you could. And sometimes the haircuts were so bad that it was better to chop at it yourself.
Hey, what's the favorite thing in your life?
I'm not sure what's the favorite thing right now.
What's something that just gives you joy?
Well, the last few weeks I haven't been having too much joy. It's been that I have problems with my feet.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question of it. It's a problem. It's not imaginary. And the problem is that I'm just getting so old. I'm forgetting things. I need to set up a new. I'm not good at using the internet, and I really. Today it's almost impossible to live without doing
Right.
something with it. And I'm always tired.
Can you
So-
get joy out of just listening to music or smells?
Oh, yeah, well, then sometimes, television, but of course the news is,
Oh, depressing as
And,
all get out.
yes. And
We live in a crazy world.
it's utterly insane.
Yes, I think more than insane.
And I'm horrified that longtime friends of mine have become Trump supporters. And I said, I don't think I'll bother talking with them, because I'm bound to get into a battle if I
Right.
do.
Right.
And it's when somebody is pro-Trump,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. and yes, I thought we had the worst when we had Reagan as an actor, but at least he was, well, at least he could deliver a good speech. He's an actor.
Right, right, right.
And,
Who was your favorite president then?
Abraham Lincoln.
They don't teach him in the. They don't. They give him a paragraph in the schools nowadays.
Well, we were of the era where 4 years, what was it? Let's see, 420 years ago, our fathers were, I've forgotten what it was, brought forth
Fourscore?
upon this continent a new nation dedicated to the principle of liberty and justice for all. We memorized that.
You had to memorize things.
Yeah, and then I thought, yeah, and they murdered him.
Right.
That was sad. No, he wrote his own speeches. Nobody wrote them for him.
Well, he was fairly articulate.
Oh, he was very articulate, and he read by the light.
Oh
of
yes.
The
Yeah.
history is it's amazing,
Yeah.
and life was not easy in those days at all, and it was.
It's
sad.
amazing we got a country at all, you know? And now look at where we're at. So many people are condemned to working and working for all of our taxes, and their quality life, especially when you live in a city, is
Terrible.
oh yeah. My husband has a farm in Oklahoma, and he comes back here because of me, and he can't stand what he sees.
I don't blame him.
All the homeless people, and we're giving people heroin, and there's no manners, there's no respect.
It wasn't like that.
No, I think it's really shifted in the past 5 to 7 years.
Well, we have a community with a synagogue.
Thank goodness.
Well, I'm between 2 or 3 synagogues.
You're a synagogue hopper, are you?
Well, no, actually, there were no synagogues in the North End when we moved up here. My husband was working in Lake City,
Okay.
and we rented in a couple of places, and then we were looking to buy something. We had some money, but we were renting. Was in a duplex, and it wasn't too far from. No, it was in. Yeah, it was close to the U District.
Okay.
And but it was a nice neighborhood, and we were on the top floor, and then people moved, and we moved down to the bottom floor, and that was easier. But because by that time we had at least Arlene, and I've forgotten just when Nancy was born.
So when
that
did you
was
move
so
out
good.
here from? Was he from Seattle?
No. We came out here because he'd been in Africa for 4.5 years, and he thought maybe he was over his allergies. He had allergies. He was allergic to cats. He was allergic to ragweed. And unfortunately, he chose to go to college at Purdue, which was in Indiana with the highest ragweed pollen count in the United States. Well, he found out that his allergies were there. He was sleeping during that season, sitting up, and I had adrenaline ready to draw up. Luckily he had a nurse, but he took medication. I gave him injections. I mean, I could give injections as well as any other nurse, or better maybe. And they, not necessarily, but but it's he wasn't going to die of anything because, as I say, I had adrenaline ready to use if necessary.
Good.
And but there were pills to take, but they put him to sleep too, which wasn't so good. But but he survived, and we got, went to the doctor, and he had medication. The medication tended to make him sleepy, which wasn't so good. But,
So when did you decide to go to Seattle?
well, when he finished, I liked it in Indiana, and it was they were nice, friendly people.
Yes.
Very nice area, and we were. Well, he was in the Jewish students' activities at the school, and he said he wanted to find some place without the ragweed. So he did some research at the library and went around looking, and he found a job in Spokane. But the only problem, we liked it there, and he went right to the synagogue, one of the synagogues in town, and conservative, and then we went. We were invited to. It was very warm, and our neighbors who weren't Jewish were just very nice people, very friendly, and so we liked it there. But he couldn't really earn enough money. So Spokane was not what it is now.
Right. Because how many years ago was this?
Oh, well, we had Arlene. I think that I'm not sure just when. I think the baby was born in India, in Spokane. Nancy, second one, and I think that I went back when Tommy got a job. I think I'd been in Philadelphia with my sister for a while he was looking.
Okay.
And we had a rental place, and then he said, "No, this isn't going to work." He said, "If we'll go to Seattle. If it doesn't work, well, he stopped in different places along the way, and he would have liked to have been in Salt Lake City, but he said that's the only place a Jew is a Gentile." He said he could have, but he wasn't willing to change religion.
No. Well, especially back then.
And he came out to Seattle, and what did he do? He rented a room in a house, and we only had one child, and I think Nancy must have been born maybe in Spokane or here. I'm not sure which at this point, but and of course people were very friendly here too. So and he went to a synagogue, and we were invited for dinner. Everybody was very warm and friendly. But he didn't have the ragweed. There isn't any ragweed here.
So that's good. No ragweed.
And so we didn't have the problem with that.
And what did your husband do?
He was an electrical engineer and power option. And he was very good in math. He also, I'm not so fast anymore, a very fast reader. He read faster than I did. And He was very bright.
And he had a good job here then.
Eventually, yes. It was, he worked for, what did he work for first? He worked for someone running electrical, well, he was a power option specialty.
Okay.
And so he was working for a private company, and he liked the owner. They got on very well, and he was very busy with the people coming in wanting electrical work done with power options. And he did took an examination to, I've forgotten what was that for. At any rate, it put him up a point higher.
Right.
And eventually, well, unfortunately, his employer was really a nice guy, and his wife were killed in an airplane crash.
Oh.
And my husband said, well, I'm glad I'm not the person responsible, because they were going to find that whoever blew up the plane. And they did.
Somebody blew it up on purpose?
Yes. And somebody blew it up because it was his parents were on the plane, and he wanted to have his inheritance. And
They what?
he wanted to get the money that he knew he would get from their death.
So it was his son?
The son.
The son of his,
The son of whoever it was had put explosives in the
you know, no amount
suitcase.
of money is worth.
Well, Tommy, the FBI came and were checking on people, and my husband said that they're going to find that person.
So your husband knew that somebody had.
That he knew that. He was horrified, of course,
Yeah.
because we were good friends with them.
Oh yeah.
And yes, they did find him. I don't know what happened to him, but I'm sure he went to jail at least, if not worse. But and of course, then after
That's certainly not honoring your mother or your father, is it?
it was blowing him up. And of course, all these other people died along with him. And when the FBI gets on you, Tommy said they're going to find that person. There's no question of it. Of course, he had nothing to do with it. But
Thank God.
no, he wouldn't even dream of such a thing.
No. Well, who does? If you're normal, you don't think of anything like
No.
that.
So they did find him. I don't remember what happened to him.
So then what happened to the company?
Well, that was the problem.
Right.
It started to run down, and Tommy wasn't too happy with what was happening.
You would call him Tommy?
Yeah, I called him Tommy. At any rate, his father was from England. He was Thomas, and his brother was Rudolph. But at any rate, he was talking to people. You know, every time when he worked for Boeing, there were always something. But there's always somebody from the synagogue, usually, because he was active in the synagogue, and he always had work. When Boeing was laying off, he always had work.
Some more hot water?
Oh, I'm good.
And so
Okay, thank you.
we had
He went to work at Boeing then?
he went to work at Boeing then, and it was it was this was before all the things happened with the well, it was before the era of the electronics came in, and he was always had work, but he said he didn't build airplanes. He was in the wiring,
Right.
so it was a question of houses for missiles, houses for whatever, and actually there was one fellow in the synagogue who always made sure that he had a job.
Nice. So somebody always protected Tommy's back.
Well, in a way, yes. Because
Nice.
he was a good worker. There's no question. But as he aged, he was going down because of what happened to him in the army.
Yes. And did he have the tremors of Parkinson's?
It started it was the last couple of years of his life.
Okay.
And I think it started somewhat before. He tended to fall asleep, sitting up, and he really had been an excellent worker, and he was very upset at times because, well, he was very good at writing, as long as it was in English and it wasn't poetry. He couldn't write poetry, but he had been editor of the newspaper. He had been, everything in high school.
Right.
And in college, there was no problem with, he was very bright. He wasn't,
To get all old messages deleted.
so he's really, it just was at the end he was beginning to fall apart. And I know that when something going on at some social event that involved the workplace, one of the fellows would say, yeah, he's falling asleep sitting up. And
How many years were you married?
53. And he died then, so.
So did you have a 50th wedding anniversary celebration?
I'm sure we did.
We tried to. In Israel, we were living in Japan, and we all met in Israel.
Come talk.
We all met in Israel for their wedding, 50th wedding, and then my dad got scratched and got that terrible disease, and he had to go to the hospital, and so
Oh, yes,
He was
that's
there
right.
for a long
I knew there was something that I
What
was...
kind of disease?
that
Like tetanus or something?
not tetanus, but I don't know what's it called?
I can't remember.
That one that's you get a scratch and then that terrible, and then you die from it. But he didn't die,
Well, he had good care.
but he was in the
He
hospital.
was in the hospital, and I was...
So that kind of kiboshed the anniversary, huh?
Yes.
But you got to see everybody then if you
Yes.
came from Japan.
Yes. And then there were, yes. It was-
And my sister, Miriam came here from here.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a get together, but it wasn't what we planned.
Well, the best laid plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was staying with Morton Gila and the cousins of my husband, and had been in Israel for quite some time, and they were near the hospital, so I could walk from there and not.
What part of Israel was it?
Haifa.
Haifa, yes, that's right. It's northern, and yes. Well, I know I know I still have an American accent, no question. Because I was looking for my classmate's house in Israel, and I've forgotten the town, but it was a small one and I went to, the instructions weren't clear. I knocked on the door and asked, and I said, I told him in Hebrew I came from the United States, And his answer was, "Ani odea, ani shomea." I know, I hear, I know, I know.
I know.
And I thought, oh boy, I thought my accent was better than that.
So you speak Hebrew pretty well?
No, not
Oh.
really.
Yeah, just
Trudy, how about you?
a little bit.
Just a little bit?
The problem, the thing is that I was teaching biblical Hebrew.
There's a high-
My degrees are in ancient Near Eastern languages.
This is my son Emmanuel.
Hi, Emmanuel. I'm
This is
Beth.
Beth.
Nice to meet you. I'm good. Now, where are you in the line of?
I am number 6.
On which way? Top or bottom?
Bottom. Babies.
So you're one of the babies.
One of the younger ones.
Okay.
Yes.
So is Shabbat starting? What time is it?
No,
No, don't worry. We don't follow.
What time is it anyway?
Let's see. It is 4:10.
Okay.
So it's time.
Okay. A few more. We'll do another
Well,
half an hour.
actually, according to the,
Are you getting tired at all? Are you okay?
well, I'm okay. My legs could be happier, but they're,
You tell me when you want to stop, because I'll come. When can I come back next Friday? Yeah, we'll do this.
Because that's the best for me. I mean, I'm home
Yeah.
right now. Usually I'm not.
Yeah,
If that's okay for you.
it's
And
good for
since
me.
you don't live too far.
No, it's fine.
well, where do you live?
I live off of Lake City Way
Oh,
by
that's not bad.
Nathan Hale.
Oh, yeah.
And
No,
the man I interviewed in Snohomish, oh my gosh, I got lost every time. It's like
Yeah,
my
GPS?
GPS was all screwed up, and
Oh.
you get, there's just a few streets in Snohomish, and if you get too far, you're like in farmland with no streets.
right.
And I kept thinking, I don't know directions. I am directionally impaired. I couldn't tell. I was trying to orient myself, and
Well, it's very,
That's horrible.
I was good at getting lost when I was driving, but,
So much easier with Waze or something like that.
well, we all need to know how to orient ourselves, and it's a lost art because we have GPS,
Yeah.
and my GPS on this phone is not accurate.
Do you do GPS or Waze?
I do Waze, I do the
Google.
Google Maps, and then and they all screw up on
I
me.
know they do sometimes.
I was very good at getting lost. I drove for quite a few years, so probably a little longer than I should have, but I really felt it was rather important to drive when my husband was alive, because the last couple of years were not too good. And
So he wasn't driving, but you were driving.
I didn't want him driving.
Right.
He got him to stop finally. It was, and then I probably drove a little longer than I should have. But,
When did you stop driving?
when did I stop driving? I was driving kids around, and that was not so good because
She probably stopped at least 10 or 15 years ago.
Okay. So when did you when did you start living with family?
no,
We moved in with them
Oh.
when we came back from Japan.
Okay. So this
They
was your
saw-
home?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
her home.
And then you just came in. You just barged in, huh?
Well, my dad needed help.
Yeah.
He needed someone here. And they in Japan, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And so then they had come and visited, seen, and then my sister's husband died, so we came back
Right.
for that, and then
What
Yeah.
part of Japan?
Tokyo.
Tokyo. That Katie, my oldest daughter, and her husband went to Tokyo for 4 days because Xavier, their boy, was just 2.5. So Chris's mom had him for 2 days, and then I had him for 2
Oh.
days. So they love sushi, and and so many people. But Katie and Chris were so impressed with how controlled the people.
organized.
Yes, yes, yeah. And did you eat any sushi when you were there?
Yeah, they have the round
Yeah,
just all over it.
yeah. What'd you do in Japan?
We taught English and
Nice.
played music and
Yeah, because you're a musician.
So this is Kobe. Did you meet
Hi,
her?
Kobe. I'm Beth. Is he one of yours or a friend?
Yeah, she's my son.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. And are you the volleyball player?
No, I'm the girlfriend.
Oh.
The volleyball player, she's being a gymnast now, tonight.
And is it working? You were telling me that. Is
Yeah,
it
she's
working?
at a meet, she has to compete.
What's she
can-
competing in?
All round varsity on the,
So on everything?
yeah. And so she hasn't even, there,
Did she go to the Brainbridge one?
yeah,
Wow, she got to leave at 12 o'clock.
30, yeah. They all had to go anyway, so she said she might as well compete. But they let her, even though, the coach wanted, even though she didn't do 15 practices. But she said it's not gonna be very good. She's not,
Maybe she'll do
she won't do
good.
very good.
So does it feel good that your family's come back in your home?
Well, it depends. I wouldn't be able to be in the alone at
Right.
this point. I'm not capable anymore.
You know, I really miss my children not being in my home. And I have a dog and 3 cats. And my husband goes to the farm in Oklahoma, so he's gone from like April to
Oh, no.
June. And I'll go to the farm too. And then he'll come back for the summer and then leave in September and come home before Thanksgiving. And he can't stand the city. But he'll come back for me. This is my second marriage. And I just miss the family. Because there's something about a home that has a family.
Well, I've never really been without a family in the
Well,
because even in Israel, when Tommy was sick, I stayed with cousins, well, from my husband's family actually, and yes, and one was the one who brought what did
It's okay.
it doesn't matter. I mean, stuff to Israel that.
Anyway, so what's,
we got really far on this.
did?
Not really. Who had the Cadillac?
Cadillac.
Uh-huh.
you had a Cadillac.
She had the Cadillac. Of course, I've had Getaway. Everyone has direct if they live long enough. Well, some developing younger since there's been some young
It's really
people.
hard
Cadillac. I don't remember a
to-
Cadillac.
Oh, it must have been funny, yeah. Shouldn't have looked at. She did?
And there were 2 out. There's 2. Maybe I'm just going to listen to this to see what makes sense.
Yeah, because that didn't make sense.
All right, I'll just listen to it because
I don't think she had molecular degeneration.
your mother, her
Well,
mother.
Yeah.
What
Did she have molecular degeneration?
If Penina said so, she probably did. But
Who was talking?
Yeah, I'm going to listen to it to make. Was it just between Penina and you? Were you together?
Yeah.
Was this on phone? You don't remember, do
Yeah,
you?
they were, she was here, I think.
Okay.
It's really,
Well, I'll go through this.
well,
because her mother, Penina's mother, my sister has Parkinsonism. So
Your
she-
sister?
Yeah, so she has,
And this is Penina is the daughter of who?
my sister Arlene.
Arlene, and Arlene is the oldest.
She's
Yeah,
the oldest,
and she
yes.
has
Okay, the eldest.
Parkinsonism.
Okay.
but I really,
So she has something the matter.
I'll listen to it because this doesn't. Well,
I
we're.
haven't heard it either.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Do you
there
want me
was-
to put it on a thumb drive for you?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll when I come back, I'll put it on a thumb drive. You can just have. You're good with computers.
I'm not thinking, but I can.
Yeah, you can just download it. One of the kids can
Yeah,
download
they
it.
can do it.
Yeah.
so because I'm not
not-
aware of just exactly what.
Well, is Penina now? Does she live in Israel?
No, she lives here. She's a doctor. She
Doctor.
has 4 kids that are 2 and under.
4 kids, 2 and under.
Yeah, they adopted Lila 2.5 years ago about, and then they had a surrogate baby from Ukraine, and that turned into twins.
Wow.
And it was born exactly 1 year later on the same date.
Wow.
I know, isn't that funny?
So does she live here?
Yeah, in South End. And then she got pregnant at the same time, so she has a baby 5 months who's almost a year right now.
So they have 4 children.
Under the
2.5.
age.
No, under the age of 3. 2.5.
And what kind of doctor is she?
Family.
Family doctor.
Yeah, and
Well, she's a third-year resident.
Okay. Well, that's getting
but
there.
Yeah.
her husband is in.
Airbnb.
He's
Airbnb.
He has an Airbnb.
No, he runs the. He's in the company.
Oh, okay. He runs Airbnb.
He doesn't run it,
But
you
he's
know,
part of Airbnb.
He's
Yeah,
a
I got it.
business person. And
Okay.
and yes, he
And
has
it's
a
really good.
master's in
Computer.
computers.
Nice.
science.
Well, I'll look through this so it makes sense, and then I'll download the thumb drive. I'll give you a thumb drive.
So
next
she must have this 3 years before the kid.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
she had
because this
time.
was done in 2015, so it was probably
Well, that's
15, yeah, before any of
almost
this.
4 years.
yeah.
So it's
And they just got Lila really quick, like about 2 months before they found out.
She was pregnant.
No, that was the one they adopted. They found out that it was because the mom was like 16-year-old,
Right.
but honor student, everything.
and she seems to be a very sweet little girl.
Yeah.
And they have, but now, well, they've named the baby, that's both, from both of them, and Ness.
Yeah, Ness, which means miracle.
Yeah.
Ness?
No,
Yes,
Ness.
in Hebrew.
Yes.
Ness.
Yeah, it sounds
N-E-S.
funny now.
Ness means miracle in Hebrew.
Yeah.
N-E-S, just one.
Oh,
S.
just
Her name's
Nes.
Ness.
Okay, but Nes means
Oh.
Miracle.
Nes. Anyway, you spell it because it's different.
I like that.
It's different
Well,
alphabet. So
it's a different
whatever you want to
alphabet.
put in English, you can write it.
That's nice.
I know, isn't that cool?
Uh huh. Yeah. You guys.
Xylem means night.
But
you,
she's
you
not
guys
planning
like children.
anymore.
That's good.
Enough is enough.
Well, she's really good.
But they
Her
have a
husband has
nanny.
that.
They have a nanny that then, and the children are growing
pair.
up trilingual.
Trilingual.
She's from
Hebrew.
The
English.
parents
and
are,
Spanish.
Oh, nice.
the
Au pair
nanny
is
is from Colombia.
Colombia.
Oh, nice.
And she's wonderful.
Yeah, you really have to get the language. Well,
I don't know.
I always wanted language, but I just
It
didn't
takes a
have it
little
in my
time.
brain.
You just start doing Duolingo. It's free. It's online.
It's called Duolingo.
Duolingo. Duolingo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's kind of boring. But you can do it online, and then you
And
can.
is that free?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, you have commercials. in it.
Duoli.
NGO.
Well, when I go to Spain, because I walk the Camino, I feel so bad because I can't even get out the basic words.
Well, you're going to, because you'll get it if you go on that. You
Okay.
keep repeating, and you.
Well, I audited 1 year of
If you do 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
sounds, if you have Latin,
get
it
it.
helps.
Yeah, I had Latin.
That'll
Then
be a
it'll be
help.
easy.
See one that I haven't caught.
You'll
My
see.
daughter, my oldest daughter, speaks fluent French, and I always wanted to speak French. So.
Well, you can learn it too.
You're
You
right.
can learn it French.
Bonjour,
French.
bonjour.
She was from
There's a nest.
She took it in high school, and she still
Russian,
speaks.
and Russia, and young ladies all learn French. So my sister and I studied French, whether we wanted to or not. And when we traveled abroad, we stayed in places where they didn't speak English. And no, they said to me, but when you go to the housing place.
Are you guys going to be here for dinner?
Oh, your French is good enough.
Yeah, we're going to a
No,
concert.
je
What
peux parler
concert?
un petit peu le français.
Oh, you're good at that.
Oh, yes.
So where
We
did
had
you?
wonderful
Yes.
teachers in high school.
So when did you go abroad? Right after high school?
No,
No.
I never, we couldn't afford to travel.
So when did you go abroad? Her French is great. Say it
Well,
again.
that
That's
was
from
be-
high school.
It's from high school. We had teachers who were fantastic, I was
Because there
lucky
was no
enough.
job, so they had really, really good teachers that
It was
could
a
get-
new school. It's now a slum,
Right?
but it was wonderful. And Mademoiselle Briazial was the
Wow.
No, I couldn't manage. My sister never used it, which is really tragic, because she was better than I was at that time. And then when I went back, I had to study German. It was very important to read German. Ich kann in Deutsch denken. I can think in German. Also, the fact
You can think in German? So you speak French and German?
not fluently, but I speak
And Latin?
not my Latin is gone with the wind.
And
unfortunately.
Hebrew?
My Hebrew is American because I don't have I learned it so late that the accent is not. It's just the man I was looking for my friend's house said Ani Odea Ani Shomea. I had said I'm from Me'atzot Abrit, from America, it's the United States. He said, I know, I hear. My accent in Hebrew is the worst. But for French, we had French teachers. This was a new school. The first teacher I had, one first year, was her husband was a professor at the University of Pennsylvania in French. Spent at least a year in France. Mademoiselle Briazial had lived in France for 12 years. And she almost had a fit when I didn't take the last year because I wanted to do biology, chemistry, and physics. And unfortunately, the physics teacher for the last semester was the only one I really hated.
Oh, that's too bad.
She always wore her Phi Beta Kappa symbol on her shoulder. I
Right.
never bothered buying one. I never wear it. How ridiculous. And
I never wear things like that.
no, I mean, it's poor taste. The poor woman must have been very unhappy.
Well, come on, pretty insecure if you have to.
And so it was not good. But she was and after I taught, I realized just how bad she was because I